Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is Vigorelli Institute. So, last video I finished my third character thing. I kind of want to break things up a little bit as I was recording it, which by the way was about 30 seconds ago. Yes, I'm recording these in a chunk because I have time. I have a life. I fix people. It's what I do. Anyway, I also want to talk about how you write, okay? What the process is actually like, what it entails, and I will explain why putting out a good book takes a minute, okay? Okay. So, very first piece of writing is the frickin' idea. What do I want to write about? Okay. Is this book going to be fiction? Yes or no? Is this book going to be nonfiction? Yes or no? What is the specific genre of this? Fiction is not actually a genre. Neither is nonfiction. It's one of two options. Things are either real or they're not. Okay? Then they branch out into genres. Okay? Now my book, The Hidden Race, and its soon-to-be follow-up, which will be the second of three, is called Stonecutter. Okay, more on why later. Or just read the book. Anyway, it is a sci-fi, urban fantasy. I guess you could say paranormal mythological. Kinda. Alternate history, maybe? Yep. Okay. Lots of genres there, all pulled into one. Okay? That's the way fiction works. You don't have to be clean. You can, you don't have to. Okay? I mean, there's only so many ways to tell the same story. You gotta start grabbing from stuff, throwing things in, having some fun with it. And by the way, it's okay to make jokes. I do it all the time. It's fun. Anyway, so you got to have the idea, okay? What do you want to write about, okay? Do you want to write about some guy who works as a doctor by day and is a video game streamer by night on YouTube? You can. And about his shenanigans. Do you want to write about what it was like to experience the Kosovo War through the eyes of someone who actually lived it? That could be neat. Okay. Okay. Lots of stuff. Okay. Depends. Now, the next part is, how are you going to write it? Well, modern day. I don't know if you can see this. This is one of my computers. That used to be my writing computer, but it was having issues. So I've got another one, and that's actually right in front of me. Okay. I prefer to write on a laptop because, let's say I need to change a venue, because I'm just not handling it. I can. Okay. That being said, I have met people that write everything by hand and then transfer it by typing. Why? Anyway, okay. Now, does this thing need a plot? If it's fiction, it needs a plot. You have to have one. Otherwise, there is no story. What is a plot, you ask? Well, you have something. This person is going about their life as though everything's cool. Something happens. That's the inciting incident. They are then sent on a journey of stuff, things, and shenanigans, to which eventually comes to a head. Something happens. That's called the climax. What I also described before that was rising action. Then you've got the climax, then descending action, resolution. Can your character go back to life as it was? Yes or no? If it's a good story, no. Okay? You need to come up with characters, you need to come up with backstories. You don't necessarily have to display those backstories within the story. Okay? By the way, I'm talking exclusively fiction right now because nonfiction, Shut up. Okay? If I wanted to write nonfiction, I'd be doing essays. This is nonfiction. Yeah. Now, you're going to need more than one character. Doesn't have to be a person, though. Okay? Other characters can be animals. It can be the environment. I mean, hell, we have a book where a character is a frickin' ring. Lord of the Rings. By the way, the ring is actually the villain. Yeah. Spoilers. Read a book. So, you need to design the world around them. The more outlandish you get, the more world building you are going to need. Now here's where things get complicated. As you are building your world, as you are building your characters, whatever you lay down, that is now law. Okay? If your character can do a thing, that thing needs to have circumstances that govern it. Okay? Let's say you have a character that can hop on one foot, but only on a full moon. Well, it's a new moon. I need him to hop on one foot. You can't hop on one foot. You're going to have to find a way around it. Sorry, bro. Okay? So this is what is called the active writing phase. This is where you are actually formulating the plot. You are figuring out what happens and how it happens. Yes, there is a difference. Okay? Now, as you structure the plot, that is the what happens. The true active writing phase is where you are tapping on the keyboards. Well, John said blah, 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 blah. And then Sarah got upset. Okay? That is the active writing phase. That is how it happens. Okay? Now, if you are writing in a particular genre, let's say sci-fi, because that's what I'm writing in order to get published traditionally, more on that later, it does need to be at least 100,000 words. Holy crap! It's actually not that bad. There's several books out there that are significantly longer. I mean, one of the largest books you read in high school and college is 600,000 words. I believe that's War and Peace. Yeah. Moby Dick was 500,000? Something like that? Yeah. Anyway, as you're going through this, okay, you're watching the word count, you're watching it go up, and by the way, you're going to have bad days of writing. You're going to have days where you can't get any work done, and what comes out is just dribble, okay? Don't edit yet. That comes later. Just go for it, okay? Now, you have written the book. It's ready to be published, right? No, not even slightly ready. Not even slightly, okay? If you have the ability, okay, you need to get in with a writer's group, people that actually know what they're doing and they're not a bunch of knobs, okay? I've been in a few of those, but the one I'm in right now is actually really cool, okay? I actually run it, because the person who was running it, their life got a little bit overcomplicated and said, here, you do it. It's like, cool, I got nothing on that day. Why not? Okay? So what you do is you bring in a piece of your book, okay? You can cherry pick, grab this, okay? The idea is to show you your mistakes, okay? To show you why things do not work and how to fix it. Okay, so if you're just bringing stuff in and going, oh, they'll love this, it'll make me look so smart, stop writing immediately. Gain some humility. You suck. Okay, it's going to hurt. Okay, I promise you. All right, now this is still the active writing phase. This isn't even the alpha phase. Okay, but Richard, you said it was the alpha phase. Yes, I know. Shush, I was wrong. Okay, so the active writing phase is where you are actually tearing it apart, you're rewriting things, and you're using the help of other people to do this. Okay, I would also recommend if, let's say, you decided to go down to the pub, have yourself a pint and a burger, like I've done, you're going to write some garbage. Yes. Now, the plot points may be fine, but the how it happens may be a little hit or miss. Guilty. Okay? That being said, I've done some of my best work in the pub. Okay? That's why I like to go. I just mind my alcohol intake. Okay? So, once you've gone through the entire book, okay, and it is written, okay, you know what happens, you know how it happens, now it's your turn to read it. Oh, yes. Now, hopefully, your writing group has been cool enough to actually furnish you with a little bit of pro bono editing, which, by the way, an editor is expensive. We'll get to that in a little while. Okay? My group is that cool, and God bless them for it. They actually have a standing order with me, at the very least, bleed on it. I want that page mocked up with red ink everywhere, because that shows me where I'm not as good as I could be. Okay? Okay, you read the book and you go through. Okay? You need to read it as though this is the worst possible thing you have ever written. You need to tear it apart, and you need to find a reason to keep every frickin' word in there. Okay? If there is no justifiable reason to keep it in, toss it. Okay? Trust me on this. Now, what will happen is you'll start to refine your plot. You'll start to give characters stronger motivations. You will start to see subplots, sub-reasons for things existing, and then you will actually add to it. Okay? Because you're going to come across something that one day, you know, it was Sunday and you had kind of a fun night before with your significant other, and you're just on cloud nine and you're just cracking away on it, and you wrote some garbage. What you wrote has absolutely no justifiable reason to be in the story, but it is actually really good. Now you need to find a justifiable reason to put it in, or you need to get rid of it. That's what the alpha phase is for. That's what this is. Okay? My recommendation, do this at least twice. Okay? Read the book once, clean it, read the book again, see if you missed anything. Okay? If, by the way, you see some punctuation errors, some spelling errors, and whatnot that, you know, whatever word processing program you're using hasn't caught, I use Word. Yeah. Okay? There's lots out there. You can use Google Docs. I don't like Google Docs just because reasons. Okay? So, once you have cleared the alpha phase, you are reasonably satisfied with your book. This is where you need to find some people, and you need to give it to them. It is not a published work. Okay? You are moving into what is called the beta phase. Okay? Beta phase is where someone you know, like, hopefully respect, and vice versa, takes your book and reads it. They tell you what they liked, they tell you what they hated, and they tell you what didn't make any sense. The last two are extremely important. The first one, that's just an ego stroke. You already know you're awesome, right? I have yet to meet an author anywhere that thinks that is humble, okay? I'm not humble at all. I have a massive ego. Trust me, it's actually a good thing, okay? So, you give this to them and you brace yourself, okay? You read through their notes and you say, okay, you make a valid point, okay? They will give things like, I don't know why Alexander walked through that door. He knew exactly what was going on. He had no frickin' business being there. Why does he do this? And if your answer is because it helps the plot to happen, you done screwed up. Okay? You need to go back. You need to fix it. You need to pull your head out. Jar Jar Abrams, I'm looking at you. Same thing you, Ryan Johnson. You heard me. Now, if you notice, if they come back and they say, you know, your character's personality shifted there for a little bit. You screwed up. Okay? Like, hang on. I thought his powers only functioned in sunlight. How is he on the dark side of the moon doing the things he's doing? That's not possible. You screwed up. You need to fix that. That and everything downstream from it needs to be rewritten. Okay? And if it means scrapping the entire work, scrap it and start again. You might be able to salvage a few things, though, if you're lucky. Okay? I had to do it in book 1. Now, what will happen is, as you make these corrections, hopefully they're minor, you'll need to go through the beta again. Okay? My recommendation, 3 rounds of this. Okay? Ask different people. Hopefully they actually have enough respect to you and get back to you in a decent amount of time. I've had a few betas. So, I said, hey, if you could get that to me like within the next 2 months, that would be wonderful. I'm still waiting to hear back. The book was published 2 years ago. Yeah. People. So, it's one of the things you got to deal with, okay, is unreliable beta readers. By the way, when it comes to beta readers, do not pay for it, okay? If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, Craigslist, is Craigslist still a thing? Whatever. Okay, and somebody says, I am happy to beta read your book for $50, payable up front. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to take your book, they're going to take your money, and you'll never hear from them again. Did I go through this? No, I'm smart enough not to. A friend of mine did, though. Okay? So, you've cleared all the rounds of beta. Now comes the editing phase. This is where things get complicated. Okay? What you are going to need to do is you are going to have to edit your book. Okay? Here is why. A professional editor, while this is a much better idea, I believe going rate for those is 1 cent per 10 words. You've got 100,000. Get your checkbook out. Okay? They're going to be pricey. Okay? Now they are valuable. Okay? And some of them will work with you, especially if they're kind of up and coming. But if you're going like for the full-on editor's treatment, it's going to cost you. Okay? And if you're like me, you're not exactly made out of money. I'm not a trust fund kid. Okay? So you're going to have to do it yourself. Which means you are going to have to make multiple passes. You are going to have a grammar book, whatever language it is you're writing in, I'm betting English, next to you and your book in front of you, and you're going to be going through it. Okay? You need to know grammar perfectly. Okay? To the point of being almost psychotic with it, to where when you walk into the bathroom and you see graffiti, you actually correct the grammar. I actually like doing that. It's funny. I know I'm a stinker. Moving on. So, you have edited the book, okay? Now you need to decide how you want to publish it, okay? Which, by the way, is kind of the entire point. I mean, if you're just writing for you, you're wasting your time, okay? You are the only person who is ever going to read it, if that's what's going to happen, okay? You're probably not going to make a ton of money with it, but it should at least be out there. You know, you might be some unknown, great, wonderful hero, okay? Hell, you could be like Charles Dickens or J.K. Rowling and be dirt poor, publish a book, and suddenly you're loaded, all right? You have no idea. Publish it. How? Well, 2 ways. Way number 1 is traditional publishing. This is a process in and of itself. Very first step of the process is called query. Okay, there are actually rules to query letters. Nobody speaks of them except for when they do. Okay, there's seminars on how to write a query letter. There's books on how to write a query letter. And you want to know something? None of them agree. I know because I studied it for a full year. Yeah. Okay. Well, you write the query letter and you send it out. Okay. There's a few publishers, depending on what you have written, that will talk to you without an agent. Send those first. Okay. You're probably going to want to send a max of about 5. Okay. They may request a sample of your writing to see, if you're an idiot or anything, how bad it is and all of that. Chances are you're going to end up in something called the slush pile. Okay. That is, we looked at it 5 seconds, thought it was garbage, tossed it. You will have to wait at least a full year before you talk to them again. Okay. Now, agents are a little bit better. Here's the thing. You have to do the exact same thing with agents. And you don't actually need an agent. Unless the publishing house you are talking to will only talk to an agent. In which case, agents are licensed. Okay? So you have to prove that licensure. Problem, right? Yeah. That's how they keep out the riffraff. Okay? So why is it such a dog-eat-dog thing? I bet you're asking. Well, let's look at it, shall we? Now, I wrote in sci-fi, okay? There are 5 major publishing houses that handle sci-fi, okay? There's about 8 minor ones, I think. A couple more have sprung up. Could be about 10 minor ones, okay? And, last time I checked, there were 82 agents in the United States that handled sci-fi and fantasy books, okay, that are pledged into kind of an adult sphere, that have the swears and so forth. Blimey, it's getting dark in here. So, they, where was I going with this? Okay, so, each agent usually has a website, okay, or at least the agent works for an agency that has a website. Guarantee you they do. How else do they get stuff? They're going to request that you send things in soft copy, so you have to email them a copy of it through their portal, okay? They do this to make sure that they don't get viruses, okay? That was my elbow. The major piece is they get hundreds of submissions every single day. You are one. Okay? Now, each agent can probably handle about 5 titles a year. Each publishing house will publish anywhere from 3 to 5 titles every single year. Yes, they keep a backlog. It's called an option. Okay? So, you have one agent out of, well, we'll make it a round number. We'll say 100. Okay? And in the course of a day, let's say it's their very first day of work, they get 100 submissions. You are one of them. You have a 1% chance of getting picked up by that agent. Okay? They can only pick 5 titles. Okay? And you are 1%. Now, that agent, let's say, likes your book. You get picked up as one of the 5. And they shop you around to all 15 publishing houses. Each publishing house is going to take 5 titles out of 100 agents. Okay. So there's going to be a total, and we're talking real optimistic. What is 5 times 15? 75. 75 books are going to be published out of 1,000. Yeah. Not exactly the best odds. Okay. Also, you have to understand that you are working against the clock in a lot of things, okay? There's rhythms in art, okay? There's certain things that art does. If you were in the 1950s, okay, one of the major things in art, both cinema, television, and books, were westerns. 1960s hit, we don't want no westerns anymore, we're done, okay? 10 years ago it was superheroes. People don't care about superheroes no more. They want other stuff because it's been overdone. So if you're writing superheroes, you have a niche market, but you're not going to go mass market, okay? And the publishing houses are going to know that. So they're going to be less likely to grab your book if they don't feel that it's worth publishing for that reason. Their job is to make money. Now, here's the other bit. Within a publishing house, okay, you are going to be handed a contract. That contract is going to lay out how much your book is going to be worth, what it's going to look like, their abilities to edit and change it, which, by the way, they tend to retain all of it. They also retain publishing rights in perpetuity and the ability to sell off your title to another publisher who will also gain all of those rights. Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll actually get in there. That's great. Let's say you've got this really, really cool character. He can levitate and use light and all of that, and they'll say, you know what, we don't have a lot of characters that can use water. He can use water now. Also, he can breathe underwater. That undermines everything. Oh, don't worry about it, dude. People love the water thing. They'll think it's great. Yeah. In movies, this is called studio interference. Okay? Now, what do you get for all of this? Well, they market your book for you. Only they don't. They will stock the book for you. Only they don't. They will make sure that your book is in every single bookstore that they have an alliance with. Maybe kind of, sort of. Okay? It'll be there for the new releases, and then it'll probably fade into nothingness. It's pretty common, especially among nonfictions. Okay? Well, you get, at best, about 12–15%. Okay? So when that book goes out for sale, very first edition, hardcover, with the sleeve, all of that, $25–30, you are going to get averages about 12%. Sometimes even less, if you don't negotiate very well. Or if they just say, this is boilerplate, that means we're not changing anything. If you don't like it, don't let the door hit you, okay? Yeah, and they control everything. Basically, they're only paying you to make you happy, okay? Now, if, your book does $100 million and you get $12 million of it, okay, deal. Yeah, I gotta do appearances. I gotta go to Comic-Cons and talk to weirdos and sign books and all of this and get recognized and all of that. Yeah, sure, fine. Okay? Big deal. Okay? Now, option 2, self-publish. Here's the thing. Self-publish, you have to assume literally all the risk. And it depends on how you want to do this, so be smart. Okay? You have to design the book cover. or find someone to do it. I do not recommend you doing your own unless absolutely necessary. And if that is the case, make sure you are friends with an artist that you can say, hey, what do you think of this? I think it's crap. What would you change? You're going to need this. Okay? Otherwise, pay somebody to do it. Going rate for a book cover here in the US, I believe, is $450. You can jump onto something like Fiverr. Maybe you'll get lucky and get something decent for cheap. My first book was actually done on Fiverr for $45. The guy that did it's in Romania. Fantastic work. Absolutely adore it. Okay? My other two, though, I did myself with the help of my artist. Okay? If you have any illustrations, unless you draw also, you're going to need an artist. They are not cheap. Okay? The illustrations I did for Homo sapiens mysticus cost me $450. Dirt cheap. Okay? 9 illustrations. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Now, you are going to have to compile it. Okay? You are also going to have to find the self-publishing avenue. Now, back in the old days, you would actually have to go to a print shop and make the book yourself. I am 100% serious. I'm so glad we live in the modern era. Okay? You've got things like Amazon. You've got Barnes & Noble, okay? You can self-publish through them. Getting into Barnes & Noble is a little bit more difficult. Amazon's a little bit easier. They just ask, just don't be a jerk. That's all we ask. Okay? So it does go under review when you publish it. Somebody picks up, reads it, reads a little bit of it. They send it through an AI, and it looks for key things. It says, no, that's cool. Don't worry about it. Or it flags it and gets kicked back. Okay? So what happens is, as you're self-publishing, modern day, you don't have to print the book. You just go to Amazon or wherever it is you're going to publish, you give them the materials, it's all packaged nice and pretty, and you say, make this happen. Okay? Now, they are going to create the price based on how much it costs them to make the book. If you want to make money, you are going to have to charge more than that. Okay? I make a few dollars of every single book I sell. Okay? It's one of the reasons why I push it so hard. Okay? Additionally, even if you were not self-publishing, you were going traditional, you are going to have an online presence, which means you need a website. You need, at very least, a Twitter or Instagram. The more of those things you have, the better off you are, because certain people may be on one site but not on another. They are going to want to get in touch with you. They are going to want to talk to you. I am on Twitter and obviously YouTube. Okay, that's what I use because I don't want to show you pictures of my cat every day. I'll talk about her, but that's about it. Okay? So, once you've got that done, my recommendation is to get an author's copy, okay, and just have it on your bookshelf. I've actually got a bookshelf right over there in my office that's got all of my books on it, plus a few other things that I have, like, books I like. I like my books too, but, you get the idea. Okay, reference materials and so forth, okay? 1, makes you look smart. 2, if you read, you get smarter, assuming it's not a cereal box. Anyway, so I would also recommend going to conventions, okay? Things like Comic-Con, things like local writers' conventions, okay? So forth, meeting people, getting to know people. Maybe they can get you in touch with somebody that's cool, okay? If you really want to do a good push and you go to one of these conventions, if you can afford it, get a booth, okay? You are going to have to travel to sell your book. If you cannot afford to travel, you are going to have to do everything you possibly can over the internet to sell your book. Yes, there's going to be a sales pitch. I know. Okay? So, that's the life of it, okay? Everybody has aspirations of becoming a millionaire doing this. The probability of that happening is extraordinarily low for any one given person, but it is a certainty for someone. Okay? For every J.K. Rowling, there's thousands John Doe. Okay? Just the way it is. So, as you're writing, as you're publishing, don't get discouraged, okay? Just do it, okay? If you're doing videos, just do it, okay? This is about your expression, okay? I guarantee you there's a market out there for whatever it is you are creating. You just got to get it in front of them, okay? And that's the hard part. That's all it is. So, it's about all I've got for you guys. I've been rambling now for 36 and a half minutes. That might not be exactly accurate, thanks to edit, but we'll go from there, okay? So, if you're new to the channel, please do me a huge solid. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Please do leave a comment. Feel free to tell me I'm a jerk. I've been called worse. And if you would like to support me and any other creator out there, please visit my website. Please visit their website. Okay? Get some books. Get some merchandise. Okay? My links are in the description. I would appreciate it, and I'm sure anybody else would too. Okay? If you are a creator now, welcome to the Iron Age. I am part of it. It is growing, and we will win. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.